Hey, Sean, any update that you're able to provide on Darius Williams and a few of the other guys who got a little banged up last night?
Yeah, so as far as Darius got a little ankle sprain, the severity of it, is to be determined. Whether that means he'll be able to play next week or whether that means he'll miss next week, don't have that determination yet. But I think it looks like it's going to be a mild ankle sprain. We'll continue to gather information on that. Matthew's finger feels good. Higbee's sore from the stinger that he sustained, and then at the end of the game, when it looked like Leonard got a little bit banged up, he was okay. He just felt like giving me a heart attack with the way that he was kind of laying there for a second. But it seems like we came out relatively clean, other than continuing to gather information on Darius.
Anybody else want to raise their hand and participants?
I was about to say, that's a hell of a deal. Good to see you guys later.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Oh, I just had to fire a tweet off really quick, so I appreciate the patience there. Sean, when you went back and reviewed, sort of the tale of two halves offensively yesterday, what were some of your major takeaways from everything that you guys did from a plan standpoint to an execution standpoint?
Yeah, it really came down to execution, Jordan. The turning the ball over in the red zone and then not coming away with points there, and then just some missed opportunities where we were just a little off for a variety of reasons. But what I like the most is it's about how you finish. I'd like to see us play consistent through 4 quarters. I think that's going to be important for us to be able to do that, and for me not to kind of say the same things week in and week out. But I love the resilience. I love the resolve of this team, but it really boiled down to execution. And then guys just made some plays. I thought there was some incredible individual efforts, with guys competing without the ball, guys making plays with the ball. Some of the plays that Matthew was able to make, moving and manipulating guys in coverage, but also navigating the pocket. I thought guys just really made plays in the second half. And then I think the things we didn't do in the first half comes back to some execution and things that we're capable of, but I just want to see us consistently do that at a higher clip from the jump. That's kind of been the narrative for the last couple of weeks.
And then in terms of your defense, I think we saw this past week that you guys are willing to kind of self-scout and make changes where you think the change might be fitting. Sorry, you keep flipping all around the screen, so I can't.
No, you're good.
Do you anticipate certain guys' roles expanding that way, such as Robert Rochelle continuing to develop as a starting corner out on the outside for you, and then Terrell Burgess as well? I know you guys were really high on him in the draft. Do you anticipate an expanding role for him in any phase?
Yeah, I would. Terrell's a guy that you want to get going. I have a lot of belief and confidence in Terrell, and you want to see if that's something that comes to life when we get back. I like the way Rochelle handled himself. And sometimes when you get thrown in the fire like that, Jordan, he misjudged the one touchdown to Metcalf a little bit, but he made a huge break up on Lockett on the next drive. And so he's a mentally tough kid. He's unfazed. It's not too big for him. I like the look in his eye during games too. You can get you can get a really good feel for some of these younger players just by, what does it look like? How do they handle the ebbs and flows of a game? And when the stuff really counts, especially in that type of atmosphere and environment. And certainly wasn't perfect, but his competitiveness, his toughness, his resolve, all those things that I think are really important to be a good football player. I thought that was demonstrated yesterday, and I think he's only going to improve and get more and more comfortable and confident. What's good about having this early Thursday game, not exclusive to the defense, but really for our defense, offense, and special teams, is you always want to make sure that you're critical, self-scout, and that's an ongoing thing. It's not like, until the bye or the mini bye, you look at that, but you do get a chance to take a deep breath and really digest those things. We'll get a little bit of a jump on the Giants, but these next couple of days will be a good opportunity to relax, but also really be critical of ourselves as coaches and what we can do to try to continue to figure out the identity of this team and what's the best way to make that come to life, as we attack. However you want to look at it, the next, another quarter or whatever the hell it is with 17 games. But after 5, this will be a good little break for us to be able to kind of look at it, make the changes, and get the right people involved if we feel like that's best for the team.
And then one more for me on Robert Rochelle. After he was drafted and just in talking with people, the phrase that kept coming up was he doesn't strike you when you first look at him as maybe a long guy, but his arms are really, really long. And they kept saying that he uses every inch of his frame, like he uses his length very efficiently, athletically. Is that something you also noticed? And I wonder if you can expand on what that might mean in application to what some of the things you expect him to do and those matchups you expect him to win.
Yeah, he's a long guy in person, and he plays long. You know, there's certain guys that are big that don't play big, but he plays with great length. But he also has the short space quickness and the lateral agilities to be able to play on the perimeter and do the things that are necessary to play the cornerback position at an elite level. And so he's got those tools. He's got those traits. You know, for a guy that didn't have a whole lot of experience, you know, where everybody wants to use the phrase, oh, he's green. I think he's got a great football acumen and a good feel, but that repetition is the mother of learning. I think he uses the reps the right way and understands how to apply it. I really like the relationship that I see him have with Coach Evero, Coach Cooley. You know, Raheem's obviously got a great connection with all those guys on defense, but especially on the back end. And so that's what I see in him. And I see a guy that's very confident. He's very self-assured. I've heard Jalen reference this, and really, I remember my grandpa used to talk about this all the time, which what really separates the great corners in this league is the short memory. You know, they're put in such a difficult spot at times. And if you don't have the ability to move on to the next play, it's going to be a bad movie for you. And I thought the best thing that I saw from Robert Rochelle was his eyes flashed back. He kind of got caught in no man's land on the go ball that they hit Metcalf on for the touchdown. But it wasn't like he wasn't in bad position. He just misjudged it, and that's a technique thing. A similar type of play, even though it was a little bit different coverage, comes up where he's isolated on a ball, him and Lockett, and he ends up making a big-time breakup that forced them to settle for a field goal there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Gary?
Hey, Sean.
Hey.
You know, coming off a series of games against the Buccaneers and the unbeaten Cardinals, Seattle, always tough in the division, you're starting this next stretch of games against teams that have struggled, at least with their records and whatnot. And I know you're going to say, you know, every game in the NFL is tough to win, but how do you kind of approach this with your players in terms of maybe avoiding a letdown when, you know, people like us are pointing out that these teams and fans are looking at that and expecting you guys to just roll?
We say ignore the hell out of Gary Klein, man. That's what we say. No, you know what? I think you would also know this too, though, Gary, is that even though the records are what they are, there's a reason why every single week there's those one or two results that make you say, I cannot believe that happened. It's why people lose a lot of money betting on NFL games week in and week out. And so you got to show up. You know, the thing I think, and I say this to the team all the time, Gary, that's so amazing about the NFL is the best team doesn't always win. The team that plays the best in the 3-hour span that you get is who wins the game. And there's a lot of things that factor into who wins and loses and what happens in that window of time. But for us, you know, we want to always be inside out. You know, I said that a couple weeks ago and Lindsay liked that, but it is true. We got to be inside out. We focus on our process, our preparation, and let's not lose sight on, I don't care what the Giants record is. They're pretty competitive. They're coming off of a really big time win against an excellent football team last weekend. We'll see what they do this weekend, but there's no letdowns in this league. And if you think there are, then you get humbled real quickly. And that's just the truth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rashawn?
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rashawn.
Coming off the loss and then, you know, short turnaround, division game on the road, what can you kind of appreciate the most about the win last night?
Yeah, just that, the way the guys handled the short turnaround, the way that they didn't let one bad performance turn into two, the mental toughness, the resolve, the ability to be able to move on quickly and not let things lag and drag. And I thought that was reflected. And I thought what again happened, you don't want to have too many opportunities where you're having to overcome adversity. But we certainly did that.
You know, Rastafari, you know, you got the whole family in the house, you know.
Hey, Tiana, can you
that up?
Right? Can you mute everybody?
Oh my God! What is Siciliano? Andrew, I'm never letting you live that one down, man.
Whoa, what? Was that me?
Oh, yeah. Like you don't know.
crap. What was that? Someone sent me an old SNL video on Twitter. Sorry, guys. I didn't know I was on. Sorry. As you were. I'm just watching the game back on NFL Network. I'm done. Bye.
That's pretty good. No, but I liked all those things. And what I was saying, Rashawn, you don't want to see us have to respond from adversity too much. But again, I like the way that we're picking each other up as a team. You know, defense did a great job getting some stops. I thought to miss that field goal, for them to really tighten up, to draw the holding when they looked like they had hit Lockett for a touchdown, for us to make them play a couple more snaps, to handle that end of the half situation the right way. And then they end up, it leads to them not getting any points. To go down, 7-3 was a big deal for us, as opposed to 10-3 or 14-3. And then obviously the second half, there was a lot of good things and a lot of things we can improve on as well.
And as far as with the team, how do you handle this mini bye in terms of time away, when you get them back and things of that nature?
Yeah, the way that the rules are set, which we would do anyways, is kind of you're kind of limited in terms of, they have the next 3 days off, per the CBA. We'll come back on Monday. We'll review this. We'll be able to get a little bit of extra work in, and then and get back into our normal rhythm and routine starting on Wednesday. Players will have Tuesday off, but we'll be back in with them on Monday, and kind of provides a little good rest and relaxation, chance to kind of look at ourselves as coaches over the next couple of days and let guys get their legs back and their bodies back.
Thank you.
Great.
Hey, Sean, I know you talked about it a little bit last night, but Robert Woods' ability to be less of a factor early in the weeks of the game plan and to have a huge role last night and to embrace both possibilities really equally. What does that say about him as a leader and as a veteran?
Yeah, I think just what you said, Greg. I mean, it shows how steady he is, that he's just still ready to deliver when his number's called. The receiver position, and really when you're a perimeter skill player in general, sometimes you're trying to get guys involved. It doesn't always work out that way, but he just stayed patient. He epitomizes a great competitor that does so many different things for our team. And the way he's gone about it, he's a guy you want to fight for, you want to battle with, you want to make sure that you do a good job of trying to take advantage of all the things that he can bring to the table, especially as a playmaker with the ball in his hands. And, I think what says as much about Robert Woods as anything is that he just kept going about his work. He and I had a great conversation earlier in the week where it was the most unselfish call that you could ever get from a player, just saying, hey, I'm happy to contribute. How do you really see my role? And what can I do to maybe be more of a factor in the pass game to try to help influence and affect our offense playing at a higher clip? And it was really a pretty cool thing to show the maturity, the composure, the leadership that he, possesses, for us to be able to have that conversation. And then for him to deliver in a big way like that was pretty special. And, I think it's something that we can build on. And I thought it was great for Robert and Matthew to show that rapport, because a lot of those were some incredibly important timing and rhythm throws over the middle. Thought he made some really tough contested catches. He was without a doubt, the player of the game offensively for us in a big way yesterday.
And then I'm just curious, you talked about how this essential 3-day bye here is good timing in relation to your actual bye. It's good for the players in terms of where it comes in the season. How does this work for you as a coach and as the coaching staff? Are you learning to pace yourself better as you get, you're in your 5th year as a head coach? You're one of the top 10 longest tenured head coaches now. Have you changed how you approach? It is, yeah. You and McDermott are right there. Have you learned how to pace yourself better during a season and how to avoid, call it burnout or call it just exhaustion from the incredible job that you have? How are you going to approach this?
Yeah, I think, I feel like I say this to you guys every year, Greg, talking about the balance, but through this point in the season, I have taken better care of myself in terms of getting more rest. I'd like to think I'm a little less irritable, even though most people would probably, just say this guy's crazy no matter what. But it's been better, and I think it's about really trusting the people that you work with, knowing that in a lot of instances, what's really come to light for me is sometimes a lot of the work you do when you're so tired, you're better off going to sleep and having a fresh mind, because you end up having to repeat that work in the morning anyways, when you're not doing a very good job with a clear mindset and a clear thought process. So I think it's just, trying to have that balance of getting a little bit more rest. The balance thing is always going to be something I strive to do. But the beauty of this too is I love what I do. I'm excited about being able to kind of take a deep breath, but also do a little bit of a deep dive on some of the things we can do better, check out what's going on around the league a little bit. I'm excited to be a fan on Sunday and probably sit at home all day, watch the Red Zone, and see if Siciliano has some good stuff for us other than that Twitter video he just played.
Yeah, embarrassed. Thanks. I'll try harder Sunday.
I only love it. I say it because I like you. You know that.
Thank you. We'll wrap up with Nick.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to ask you, just how have you been able to notice the relationship, the development of relationship between Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson over the past several weeks?
Yeah, I think it's been great, Nick. I think it all starts with Thomas Brown. His leadership, the command that he has, the ability to connect with these guys is really vital to the success of that room. And I think Darrell and Sony are both two great guys. And I think their skill sets really complement one another. I was talking to my dad about this earlier today. I thought they both did an excellent job. I thought it was good to get the run game going. But what you saw from both those guys, too, that I think epitomizes the toughness of their coach is watching them stick their face on people in protection. Both of those guys had huge blitz pickups that we ended up creating explosive plays from. And Matthew did a great job being able to move off of it. And these are some of the better blitzing linebackers in the whole league. With Wagner, with the Brookses of the world, these guys do a great job with some of their internal pressure packages. And those backs were asked to step up in a big way. But you're talking about two special human beings, got a great coach leading the way for them. And those guys are only going to get better. I thought Darrell ran hard too. I think you see Sony levels runs off, he falls forward. I thought Darrell ran really tough last night. He's playing tougher. And I love to be able to see that from Darrell. It was great to be able to see him. The last 2 weeks, I think he's been a real bright spot for us.
And this being probably maybe 25% of the season now, what are some of the goals or some of the things that you've seen different out of Darrell Henderson as far as where he was at this time last year versus where he is right now?
Yeah, I still see an explosive playmaker. I think you're seeing a guy that's rounding out his game. He's being more complete. Like I mentioned, the protection stuff sticks out. I think the way he's able to level off runs has stuck out. He's made some plays in the past game when he's been asked to do that, which he's always done that. But I just think you're seeing a more mature player. I think you're seeing a stronger player, a more decisive guy, a guy that's playing smarter. And I think he's only going to get better. And I think both of those backs are going to continue to improve. And that's going to be a vital part of our success offensively and for our football team as we progress forward throughout this season.
Thanks, Coach. Enjoy the mini bye.
You got it. You too, Nick. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, Coach. That's it. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, guys.